Mark Knudsen of the AXS Sports Minute or so, talking some UFC 200 obviously coming up really shortly here, and with Josh Davis from the MMA Corner. Josh, there's a lot of things going on with this event. It was supposed to be the marquee event for UFC. They've had some roadblocks.
Yes, obviously huge news with Jon Jones being removed from the card due to testing positive for a banned substance.
Performance enhancing.
Yes.
Now, he's had problems with recreational substances. This time it's the other way around.
Exactly. This is a true performance enhancing drug. He actually provided his stuff that he was taking to USADA, and they tested all the supplements he took, and they did test positive for the banned substance. However, the company that made the supplement immediately came out and said, "We did not put this stuff in here. We will provide additional batch sampling to prove that this is Jon Jones and not us." So the company has flat out said that this is all on Jon Jones.
Well, does this put a damper on the event?
Honestly, no. So the UFC immediately found another opponent for Daniel Cormier and Anderson Silva. Now, it's not the title fight that everyone wanted, but it is a fight that does have some interest. And the UFC did some reshuffling. So Miesha Tate and Amanda Nunes is now the headliner of UFC 200. So that is the new main event. Brock Lesnar and Mark Hunt is still the co-main event. So you still have the pay-per-view draw. Then you have Anderson and Daniel Cormier. It's not the title fight, but it is going to be a fun fight. Then you still have Frankie Edgar and Jose Aldo on the card. It is still a solid card from top to bottom. There's just no Jon Jones. And if we're being honest, Jon was going to whoop Cormier anyways. Now we have a fight that might be a little bit more competitive.
Does Jon Jones have a future in this business?
No, Jon Jones is done. It sounds like he's going to get a 2-year suspension. That'll make Jon Jones 31 by the time that he can return. Daniel Cormier will be 39 at that time, so that rivalry is done. It'll really depend on what the Fertittas want to do with Jon Jones moving forward, assuming that they're even still around.
I was going to say, Fertittas is an interesting point, because you've told me otherwise that
yes,
their days with UFC are over.
Yes, the UFC has been sold. That deal is done. It has not been officially announced, but it has officially closed. I kind of think that this Jon Jones stuff came about so the UFC didn't have to announce the sale this weekend. It was easier to do this than to announce the sale and take away from the event in that manner. But it's quite possible that the new owners do not want to be in the Jon Jones business.
Well, speaking of the new owners, what's the future of UFC? We assume Dana White will stay involved. We assume that moving forward, nothing much will change.
Yes, Dana White will still be involved. So Dana White is a 10% owner in the UFC as it stands now. He will give back his 10% share. He will get an additional stakeholder in the new company, and he will continue to be the face of the franchise.
So nothing much should change from our end with UFC, but obviously some business changing. Now, future cards coming up, we'll have a Conor McGregor and possibly a Ronda Rousey.
Yes.
So the future still looks pretty good for the UFC.
The future still looks bright. 202 still has Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. The UFC is still in talks with Ronda Rousey to have her headline UFC 205, assuming Miesha Tate beats Amanda Nunes. If that happens, then that fight is probably going to be what headlines UFC 205 in Madison Square Garden. So there's still a lot of big cards coming up for the UFC. They have a lot of big stars, even with the loss of Jon Jones.
That's what you get with UFC 200.